What up, what up, what up, what up? How we doing? Let's see here. Nice. Very nice. All right. Doing the old share over here. Share to the personal. Always got to share to your personal. And interesting. I'm also, I don't do Instagram live every night with this because it's actually really bad because it only cuts off, like, it only shows like this much of the screen. But I did it today because I mentioned, just got a message from a buddy. He saw I went live, so let me go to Instagram just to make sure that all is all is good. Nice. Cool. You can't I'm gonna briefly review this here for a second. I really like Streamlabs, and I like let's go screen share, and I like Streamlabs, and this what you're seeing right here. This is Restream, but it's kind of annoying because like Instagram isn't like fully integrated, so you kind of have to do like a custom thing, and then you can't see the comments and everything like that, so you kind of have to use Instagram on your phone or something. It's kind of annoying, and obviously relatively niche. If you're not using Restream, you wouldn't need to worry about that, but yeah, so but that's kind of the behind the scenes. I would love to make an actual video on how I do all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there on similar things, but I figure why the hell not just kind of do something similar. I love to show the way that I do things. Oh my god, Dylan again, smart. Yeah, this was B's idea. I'm trying to scoop stragglers from the Pens game, the professional analysts on Facebook. So yeah, thanks boys, appreciate that. Yep, yeah, keep it coming. Yeah, get everyone in. Yeah, thank you. Maybe we should like have something where I have a beautiful idea. I'll start an affiliate marketing program, and it's based on how many people you can get into the stream, and if they stay for an arbitrary amount of time, you make money. That's fucking genius. Yeah, I'll work those details out, and then yeah, we'll have that. Yeah, this looks really bad on Instagram because it's literally just the middle of the screen. So dumb. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Jesus, just yeah, everyone. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, what was I gonna say? So obviously, here's the list here. Okay, here's the list, boys. Actually, it's not. That's better. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through this. No, I didn't get my TV back. Thank you, Dylan. You're hot on the case. Appreciate that. I'm gonna go through this because I do have a couple things that I'd like to hit on here that are kind of important, and I can kind of show a couple things for like the finance piece and just some other stuff that I'm interested in talking about because I had some good experiences today and things that I think could provide some value. So first one is very simple. I hung a door. I don't actually do carpentry or door hanging for a living, but there was a door in my house, and I hung it. And when I say hung, I literally just put it on there and just stuck some little pins through there. But again, that's going to be something interesting when I get older and have my own place. Free league for like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. But that's it just made me think like when I have like my own house, I am actually not very good at like doing stuff like fixing things like actual around the house type shit and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to figure out either people that I can, commission to do that type of thing, or just get better. I have faith in myself that I could figure out how to do stuff, but you know what I'm saying? It's just an interesting thing. So I had to do that today. It's kind of just a little thing, but something that got me thinking. This one is sort of the same thing. So I listed an apartment that my grandmother actually has for rent. It's just like a unit like above her house, basically. And that's another thing. I talk about this all the time because my parents have some rental units, and I'm kind of involved in some of that. I'm very interested in, oh shit, I don't know what I just clicked. I'm very interested in like real estate investing later down the line. Actually, there's probably going to be some sort of like property management in my future to some regard, either that or, yeah, buddy, no problem. No problem on the soundbar there. Maybe tomorrow or something. I don't really know how to update firmware on a soundbar, so I'm going to have to figure that out. For the real estate investing, like, it's something that, like, I'm anxious to do but can't do right now because of, like, capital reasons. I mean, I probably could. Actually, total side note, I'm going off on random tangents here. I want to have real estate property in the future. It's something that I'm interested in. I do some research here and there, but it's not, like, on my radar right now. So one like interesting thing that I have been experiencing though is like just something as simple as like being on TikTok. And if you go through and you're like in the algorithm, or like stuff shows up for like real estate investing, some people put actual good content on there rather than just like random like dances and shit like that. There is some people on there that have some really good information about like different strategies to invest into real estate and all this stuff. And one thing that I see a lot of is wholesaling. So this is like such a weird, it's such a weird thing. Like when you, like for real estate wholesaling, from what I've seen as far as that goes. So like apparently I'm going to butcher this because I only know like from like a couple videos on TikTok and a couple different things that people have said. Apparently, like you go to a place and you say, hey, I'll buy this place for $30,000. And you're just writing a contract basically that says that you would purchase it for $30,000. But then you go and you find somebody that will purchase it for $50,000, let's say. And then you sell that contract to the person that'll buy for 50. They pay 50, you get 20 because the person, they're buying it from you essentially at 50. So I don't actually know how that works. I thought about that. I've seen it a bunch of times. And then I thought like, well, wait a second. Like the whole point of that is like you don't actually have to spend any money. You just get it because you're just doing the work to find somebody that has, that'll get that. But is that contract that you write initially, does it have like an expiration date? Does it mean like if you can't find somebody, then you have to pay and buy that property? Because if that's the case, then that's pretty fucking sketchy. Or like like not sketchy, but like that seems pretty risky. Like what if that's not your goal? So I don't know. That's just something that I was thinking about when I was listing that apartment like for my parents on Zillow and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's an interesting thing that I'm definitely interested in to a point, but I don't know how to do that. So one day maybe. This next one is annoying as fuck. So I contacted Samsung support about this monitor that you can't see because it's big and the camera is obviously pointed the other way. But it's 49 inches. It's like two screens basically kind of connected and curved and all that jazz. Look it up, Samsung CRG9. And I'm a little concerned because I've had it for a month and like it'll make like little popping noises. And I think most of them are thermal. We've talked about this before on the stream. Talked to Dave and a bunch of other people about it. Looked on Reddit and stuff like that. I'm gonna give a mini review of this screen and like just my experience with it. I would say if you're in the market for a monitor and you want to like, I like gaming on it, but I'm not like a professional gamer or anything like that. Like I play some COD with some friends and stuff like that on occasion, and it's like, it's a really immersive experience because it's really big and it's pretty solid graphics, especially with the machine that I have and everything like that. So it's good on like from an actual like experience perspective. Can't say anything bad. The thing is though, it's very big, obviously, right? And I I don't know if I would classify myself as somebody that's like always like cutting edge, like getting stuff that's on the bleeding edge of technology and all that stuff. I wouldn't really say that I normally do that. But I would say that this monitor is probably pretty cutting edge in a sense of, and that's not me bragging, that's me telling you what the case is. Because it's not like there's not a ton of support out there. There's not a ton of people that have it that could give you great information on it. Especially if you have like a problem and stuff like that. That's why I contact Samsung support, because it makes this weird like popping noise, like when it's heating up, I guess, and when it's cooling down. Like, it's just very strange. It's not super consistent, but you can hear it a decent amount. And for some reason, like on these streams and stuff, when I have a freaking microphone like 2 feet from it, like it doesn't really do it too much. But it's just interesting the way that it happens. So I'm kind of chalking it up to the fact that it's just a big ass curved monitor on a mount that is, and it's not, I don't think it has anything to do with the mount. Like, it's not structural. It's like internal. There's heat coming from the screen, and I think it's expanding the plastic and then contracting the plastic. So that's, I think, why it happens a lot. However, my experience with Samsung support was interesting. I contacted them, and I was like, yo, there's something, going on here. Like, this is popping. There's these noises and stuff. And I was like, what should I do about this? I wanted to see if anybody else had this problem, like that they knew of any reported issues. And they're like, no. And I was like, well, that's definitely bullshit, because other people have had this problem before. Like, I looked on Reddit, I looked on other places, and it's somewhat known. And I think, again, it's chalked up to it being kind of like a newer type of thing and all that sort of stuff. So I did that, and they called me twice. The support people called me twice, not like Samsung, because they push it off to some servicer, and they called me twice, and I haven't answered yet, because I'm kind of concerned, because they're like, hey, we need to buy like parts and stuff. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you don't even know what the problem is. Like, I don't even know what the problem is. How can you, like, you're gonna buy parts and things? So I'm kind of concerned about that, because it doesn't actually affect anything. It's just kind of annoying. Like, I was literally sleeping this morning, and like I heard a loud, like a pop noise coming from the monitor, and I'm kind of concerned that it will ultimately break it one day, but I don't actually think that will happen. So it's all just a very strange thing, but this is kind of what to expect when you buy shit that is relatively new in nature, especially, like in technology and stuff. And I did learn, though, that this thing has a 3-year warranty. So hopefully, if it breaks before then, and we can do something about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the update on that. All right, so here's what I want to do. I have a couple more things, but I'm going to take like a kind of a break here from just like going through the list, and I'm going to talk about this thing. So today was my finance meeting. So like my finance meeting, like with myself, and where I reconcile like all my personal stuff, reconcile all the business stuff, and I go through everything and just, do the bookkeeping and all that jazz, pay credit card bills, all that stuff. And I was pleasantly surprised when I clicked into Capital One's CreditWise like app piece of software thing, and it said that I had a 799 credit score. So I posted that on Instagram on my story, and I said that I would put up some like tips and stuff like that when I went live sometime tonight. So we're gonna do that right now. So if I go over to Capital One and I sign in, and again, this is another one of those things where I've talked about this before, but I haven't like put up enough content on like YouTube, like standalone type of things, because this is all really good information that you could probably find elsewhere. But I think that, my experience kind of in general is a little unique, obviously, in some way or form. So, that's why we're talking about it. So here's what we got. If you're watching on Instagram, it's probably kind of shitty the way that the thing is laid out, because it's vertical, and I don't know if there's a way to change that, so I apologize. But if you're on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, I'm going to look at this website here, and I'm kind of just going to go through some things. And you don't need this thing. This website here, this Capital One CreditWise thing, has nothing to do with actual credit score. Like, it shows you your stuff, but you don't need this thing in order to have a good credit score or to know your credit score. There's a bunch of other tools, and you can get like a free credit report and stuff like that. All of this is actually going to be covered in this personal finance course if I ever, release it in full. So But yeah, so in the spirit of this 799 credit score that I so happily saw, and actually the next update is 1 day from now, so watch it go down to like back to whatever it was, 773. I don't understand why this does this. Like, I don't understand how it went up 26 points. I don't know. I had somebody message me actually on Instagram saying that if you pay a little bit more each month, like if you owe $30 on your card and you pay like 35 or something like that, then that could boost it up. I've never had that happen to me, but give that a shot. I don't know. But real quickly, if this is the reason you're here or this is the reason you're watching it, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what I know about this and how this has happened to me, how I've gotten to this point. And it's really these 6 factors. Sometimes they vary a little bit depending on the tool you're using and stuff like that. But honestly, they're pretty freaking straightforward. And, if you think about them, it makes a decent amount of sense. So on-time payments, just don't miss any payments. If you don't make the full amount, at least make whatever that minimum payment is, and then you'll have 100% here. So that's important. And then with each one of these, you'll see in the top right, like excellent, average, good, all that sort of stuff. And it has like little things below average, good, so just little categories that you're in. And obviously you want to be as high as you can. So if we scroll down here, on-time payments. So just make your payments on time, at least the minimum payment. You should be good there. That's relatively easy to do as long as you're not, completely broke, I guess. Oldest line of credit. This one is the toughest, obviously, for me, just because like you got to start early. You got to start as early as possible. And I started when I was 18, and I'm still obviously on the average here because excellent is like 25 years. So you can't worry about a lot of this stuff too much because like that you can't control that. That's freaking time. So, but just start as early as you can. That's why I want to try to target younger people with this type of content because it's very important. Credit used and available credit. I'm going to come back to those because those are important and very similar. And then these ones down here are very similar. So let's go here first. Recent inquiries and new accounts. Again, relatively straightforward. Recent inquiries is like if you like pulls on your credit effectively. So you don't want to have a ton of those because this is all a game. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that right now. This is where it gets very game-like. You don't want to have a ton of things, but at the same time, you do want to have a lot of credit available to you and all that stuff. So just try to get... The way that I've gone about this was I loaded up. Like I have like 8 credit cards, and that's how you'll see over here I have so much credit and stuff like that, and that's why I have so many new accounts. But just basically don't be trying to get credit cards like every month or every year of your life or anything like that. Like try to get some and load up so you have credit available to you because that's going to factor into the score. But like you could see for me, like I got a lot of credit cards when I'm young here over the past like 6 years since I've been 18, but now I'm kind of tapering off, so I don't have as many inquiries. These accounts go down every so often. It's 5 within the past 2 years, but that's going to continue to go down, and then that's going to go obviously it's average 5 to 6. So then like when I have less new accounts over the past 2 years, that'll be better. Again, it's all a game, but if you just kind of stick within those categories and those what they kind of want you to do there, it's going to reflect better. And then really here's the key. Honestly, each one of these have like there's another piece in there like how important each one of them are, but here's the reason that I have like 8 credit cards and the reason that I have all that. In no way, shape, or form will I ever use $90,000 of credit. But the point is that if you have a lot of credit here, you see like over 50K, but you don't use a lot of the credit, let's see, this is how it's a game, right? You want to have a lot but not use it, then that means that you're like responsible, I guess, in the crazy world of credit stuff. And this stuff changes from time to time, like I said, but ultimately, if you follow these steps and you continuously have like decent credit and people are going to be, happy to lend you if you need stuff for a house, if you need new credit cards and stuff like that, then that should be, that'll be very helpful for you. And, so that was a super simple rundown of that. And, it's helped me. It's helped me a lot. Obviously, I'm not saying that mine is the absolute right way. You could probably do all this and have all these things with way less credit cards and way less time spent on all the stuff that I've spent on learning with this. But that's just kind of what I've done to this point. So that's that. So there's your little education thing. And like I said, I'd love to put out more content if I ever get around to doing that. And one of those pieces of content would be an Azlo walkthrough. I did try to start that today. So I'm going to brief story about this. The Azlo is the bank that I use for all my businesses. It's totally online. If you have ever heard of Ally Bank is like for personal use. Azlo is kind of like Ally Bank, but for business use. They're not affiliated in any way, but that's kind of how I like to think it. It's totally online. There's no branches, nothing like that. I love it. It's perfect for me. Perfect for what I do. Not perfect for everyone, but it is perfect for a lot of people, and they probably just don't know it. So what I did last time I opened an account, I went through and I filmed everything. Now this was on it. Well, actually, it wasn't the last time. It was when I did Fueled by Progress, and it was a while ago. So like I have all this footage. And side note, H.264 footage is annoying as fuck to edit. I did not realize that before I got this camera. But it is really annoying, and I was having a little bit of trouble with it today, but more so I was having trouble because like the footage is annoying in the sense of how I structured it and things like that. And I don't know, I'm just going to have to do some serious editing on everything there. But I should have an Azlo walkthrough up on my YouTube channel at some point, and I really think that'll be helpful because nobody else on YouTube is putting out content on Azlo, and I could have a huge surge in at least views and stuff like that if I put out some content on that because I know it very well. And yeah, I'm totally dropping the ball on that, but I tried to work on it a little bit today. I might have to switch it up, like I said, on the way that I did it, but we'll see. What else do we have? So, this is an interesting one. So, I talked to my grandparents today. They're up from Florida, and I had some it was insightful conversation because, again, the things that go on in my head when I'm talking to different people are, especially in this case today, it's like I'm getting to the point now where in the things that I'm doing, I'm trying to learn, right? I'm trying to learn with every conversation that I have on FBP, AM and the PM, all this. And I was treating it kind of like a podcast. I actually am pissed off that I didn't record it because it would have been good content. Because, they're 70, in that range. And it's there's a lot of things that have changed. There's a lot of stuff that, and I'm pretty much done sharing stuff, so I'll do this and I'll just finish up the stuff. But there's a lot of things that have changed. A lot of things that have changed over all these years, and I was talking about where they used to work and things like that, and all this stuff. And it was really insightful because we talked a little about religion. We talked about the way that they were raised, the times that they were raised in, how you couldn't just go down the street and, find a bite to eat. You had to pack your lunch and then you were gone all day if you were a kid and stuff. And it's just weird. It's just, there's such a vast difference in the way that we live now and the way that they grew up and the way that they raised their kids and everything like that. So there was a lot of insight there, but I think, I wanted to get to the bottom of how people get to where they're at, in a sense. I'm always trying to compare what I'm doing, in a sense, to what other people are doing. And that sounds kind of fucked up, and I don't want it to. I don't mean that oh, I'm better than you. That's not what I mean. I just think of it is there something that you're doing is there something that I think that you're doing or you did or whatever you implemented in your life, mindset, habit, whatever it is, that I can try to utilize in mine and ultimately better my life and better the lives of people around me, right? My family, whatever. And when I'm talking to people, and I don't talk to old people often, but when I talk to my grandparents today, for instance, I was trying to understand. I know how they are now, right? I know the people that they are now and stuff like that. They're fine people, but I was trying to understand how they became the people that they are. is as simply as I can put it, right? And that's an extremely deep question. Like how do you even start to answer that? Well, I thought maybe you could get to that level somehow. I thought maybe I could start to understand that to some degree if I ask questions like, well, were you, like, I didn't know if they went to a Catholic school. I didn't know, for religion and morals and stuff like that. Like, they went to Catholic school and then they ended up not sending their kids to Catholic school because, like, just like weird shit going on in the church that they were in and stuff like that. Like, they said like, oh, you can't afford to send your kids here or some shit. Like, it's just things along those lines. And it was interesting to hear that. It was interesting to hear the perspective. And then, like, as you go throughout, like, one of the other big ones was my grandfather worked for 25 years at, like, Neville Chemical Plant, like down on Neville Island, for instance, and if you're familiar with Pittsburgh. And he was explaining this job to me that he worked at for 25 years. And I was like, that sounds like the worst thing. Not just worst in the sense of, like, I don't want to do that. Like, the most dangerous thing that I could think of for 25 years. Okay. And I don't understand how you could do that. Like, maybe it was a different time. Maybe it was whatever. But I just don't want to do that. And fuck that. Okay. Fuck that. I'm going to look right into the camera when I say this. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to live a life that I don't know if they regret their lives or anything. That's what I'm saying. I am not going to live a life that I don't like. I'm not going to live a life that I don't want, that I don't get up the majority of the days and get excited to go do whatever I'm doing or be around the people that I'm around. Like, I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to do it because I like being happy too much. And of course, again, I've always said this, there's stress built into all this shit that I'm doing, and there's stress built into everyone's lives, and nothing's going to be perfect and rosy and all the time great and everything like that. But there's a lot that you have control over. And I'm not commenting on the difficulty of those times, but at the same time, there were definitely people that built businesses in that time. And again, I go to business, but I'm not trying to pitch it, entrepreneurship. I'm just saying there were definitely people that were happy in those times. So I don't like to use excuses like, oh, there was a tough time back then. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's every time is tough. Some times are a little tougher than others, but every time is tough. Every time has pieces of it that are difficult, and you shouldn't be in those places if you don't want to be, if you want to be happy. So, that's kind of how I think about that. And, what that conversation and some of that made for me is like, how can you go 25 years to a job that's extremely dangerous? Like, could have died multiple times, has a family, 4 kids and all that. And, like, I'm not blaming him. I'm not, like, criticizing him. I'm just saying, like, I couldn't even imagine doing that. And, you can die any day, but, like, putting yourself in those positions and stuff like that, even if jobs are hard to find, like, that's just fucked to me. So, really, like I said, it was just insightful, and it gave me some perspective on, like, at least what the times were then and what the times are now. And I'm very grateful for living now. I'm very grateful for living in this. But there's definitely going to be better times in the future too, So I'm not complaining that, maybe I wasn't born in 20 years, 30 years, Make the fucking best of whatever time you live in, okay? I'm sure there were very happy cavemen. I'm sure there were very happy people in the 1600s. Just do your fucking best, man. So that was the insight that I gained from that conversation. Very interesting. Haven't had that one with them before, so that was good. Yeah. And sort of along the same lines, I'm very happy about what I'm doing, right? And I'm very happy about the progress that we're making. I talked about it the last couple nights of, like, FBP and AM and the PM and all that stuff. And FBP especially, like, I'm very very confident in where that's going to go ultimately. I think that Fueled by Progress has a huge opportunity to grow into something much more than that. And I can just come out and just say it straight. Like I kind of want to be the next like Joe Rogan type of thing. There's probably other people that are obviously doing that, but like I'm not saying that I'm gonna be the next Joe Rogan, but that would be cool to just move towards that, right? And I'm okay with saying that because he's got a great thing there, and he's one of the people that I kind of look up to in that type of a space. I think he does it very well, and specifically with FBP, I am just it's almost becoming daily where people are seeing things like whether they're these daily recaps or they're the episodes themselves or something, and they get interested in it, whether it's because of it's me or like the content or whatever it is, doesn't matter, and they reach out to me. So I had a couple people more reach out to me today about it, and we've got some more guests interested and lined up, and I have a whole list of a bunch of people that have expressed to me either like towards me, or I asked them that they said yes, and they'd be more than happy to come on the show. So I am very happy. I love you too, Ism. Thank you so much, brother. That's very kind of you. And so there's a lot of people that have a yes written by their name, saying that they are anxious or at least willing to come on Fueled by Progress. So very excited for that. I would like to do more than one a week if I could, but I do not. There's no actual way that I could do that myself. So again, we're back to the whole need more people thing, but slowly but surely. So I'm very excited for what's to come there. I'm very excited for the guests that we have lined up. And that's dope. So yeah. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about here is I think it's pretty much it. I think the Penguins won, yeah? I think that's a random thing. Let's look at that real quick. Yeah, Penguins won. That's cool. Nice. Good for them. The last thing, though, is, again, all pretty much tied into these last pieces, but I was listening to a meeting sort of like that my sister was having, and like kind of like it was like a group meeting for one of her college things or whatever. And it's not about that specifically, but it wasn't about the people in the meeting or that group specifically or anything like that. It, again, is one of those things where I experience it and I think, how can I think about this broader? And the idea is that kids, especially like, in college and stuff like that, myself included when I was there, I feel like I'm much more anxious isn't the right word. I'm much more like happy for one, but like there's another word, like ready to take on the world, or like anxious is a good word, like anxious to go, like to move forward, to get started, to do this, that, and the other thing. Just like really excited. I want to say excited's probably a decent one, about the things that I'm doing, the things that I want to do, the things that I'm pursuing. I'm just much more ready to go, and I have goals now, in a sense, okay? That we'll just leave it at that, for like a 24-year-old than I was when I was 18 into 22 range. So I'm listening to this meeting, and like, it's kind of like one of them, Zoom meetings, and it's whatever, and it's relatively oh geez, this thing might die, actually. Shit. It's like, bear with me here for a second. I don't want this to die. Oh, Jesus, my desk is like a pain in the ass. I don't know. I'll just finish real quick because I think the camera's going to die. Hopefully it doesn't. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that I think kids are kind of generally unaimed. Okay, I think that's a really good way to put it. When you're young and you don't have like an aim, like and you don't know exactly what you want to do yet, and you're kind of just like stumbling through college and everything like that, there's no problem with that. But the point is that when you are young, you need to try to find where you're going, right? You need to try to find something that you want to do. Try everything, because that's how you're going to figure it out. You're not just going to like think one day randomly, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this, or I want to be that, because you actually don't get enough experience until you start doing it, right? Like that's kind of one of the things that like happened with me is like I didn't realize that like, oh, I have the capability to do this business stuff, to do, build websites, to talk about these types of topics and to structure things and to build all this stuff until I started to do it. And I was still at my job at that point and I didn't really like it. And that was the case. And now I've moved on from that. So all I'm saying is if you're in college, if you're a young person or whatever, try to figure all that out. Don't take it like too seriously. Like you don't need to like figure it out like tomorrow. The whole thing's a process. You're going to meet a ton of people throughout your life that are never going to figure it out, and they're always trying to figure it out, and that's totally fine too. Like I'm not saying that you need to have everything figured out ever. I'm just saying try to work towards, have an aim, have a goal, have multiple goals, and go towards them. Like the path is going to be wiggly and waggly and all this other stuff, but like just move towards something, or don't. Fuck it, I don't care. But that's my advice, right? And when I hear nice tits, thank you, I appreciate that. Like when you, I don't know if you heard that, but that was the monitor cracking, the popping. Probably couldn't hear it, but that is what I would say. Move towards something. Try to find stuff that you're interested in, and stuff that you think is going to make you fulfilled and happy long term, right? And I don't think enough people think about that. And I got that from that sort of just that little thing there where it's like these kids are probably actually interested in this stuff, but like whether it's the situation or the I don't want to call it maturity level, but kind of the maturity level, not like in a jackass way and like just like an age way and a wisdom way, it's tough, and I empathize with that because I was there, but it's a real thing. And I think that a lot of people need to move towards something and try to consistently think about that. So that's what I would say. That's probably the best advice that I can give to young people. And I wish I would have started sooner, but I'm happy that I did start as soon as I could and as soon as I did. So yeah. But yeah, so on that note, and my boy Rexy, the one, the only, with the titty comments, I appreciate you, my man. I think we're going to end that here for tonight. And yeah, so that's been pretty good. It was a pretty good day, like I said, overall. Tomorrow, I don't know if there's anything big coming tomorrow. Not really. I have to just edit some content. Have to edit FBP 51. That's going to be on Wednesday at noon. So look out for that. Great guest with a cool message and a cool like unveiling of something they've been working on. So that's dope. And yeah, so with that, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. If you watch on the rerun, thank you as well. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.